Sorry, I didn't see you standing there. So welcome back to the shop and welcome to New Year's Eve. This is the last day of 2021, thank goodness. So what have I been doing around the shop? Well, it is New Year's Eve and there's not a lot going on, so I didn't want to get into too many big things today. So I thought, you know what? Let's get out some of the original trim pieces and try to bring them back to life, because this is 68 Mustang Restoration, not 68 Mustang, let's replace everything. So I'm trying to keep as many of the original pieces as possible. Of course, they're going to have patina. And even Barry over at Joe Daddy's Garage acknowledges that when you're restoring a car, you have to make a hard decision. You either, I'm going to replace everything regardless, even if it's just a little bit pitted, or you're going to put back onto the car some of the original pieces that that car came with, regardless. In this case, I've been able to restore these fairly well. Now, if you take a look at the before and after of the sun visor mounts for the convertible. Now, the sun visor mounts for the convertible are a little bit more complicated because they also integrate where the roof comes in and locks in. They're not just a single swivel. But you can see what it looked like before and after. And of course, here you can probably see a little bit of the before. And of course, then we have the after. Now, as I said, a little bit of a pitting on there. There's a little bit of surface marking, and that's etched into the chrome. There's nothing I can do about that. So basically, I'm just trying to bring back to life some of these pieces. And I've got a lot of stainless steel on this car. There's stainless steel around the windows. There's stainless steel around the convertible top. So a lot of that's going to have to be brought to this. Now, this is where I might have gone a little too cheap. This is a 1/4 horsepower. And in all honesty, if you're going to be trying to use a large buffing wheel like this and you're trying to polish up a piece of this size, you're going to stall this out. It easily stalls when you put too much pressure onto this. So I would recommend, if you are going to go with a buffing wheel and you are going to try to restore a lot of your pieces, get something in the 1/2 horsepower range or even a little bit more. Because basically, in order for me not to stall this out, I've had to go to a thin buffing wheel. Now, the thin buffing wheel works just as well, but because there's less surface area, obviously I can put a lot of pressure on it without stalling it because it has a smaller footprint, but it just takes a little bit longer. And I guess that's the story of my life here. You know, I'm doing the slow and methodical cut and polish because I don't want to do any damage. And I guess I'm doing the slow and methodical polishing as well. But basically, if you are going to get one of these and you are going to do polishing with it with a big buffing wheel, get something with a little bit of horsepower. So what else have I been doing? Well, I haven't been doing a ton, but let's go take a look at the car and see where we're at. Well, the fenders are back on, and now they're back on permanently. They have not yet been cut and or polished, as you can tell. There's a lot of orange peel still in that paint, and you can see that when the light reflects on it. But they are now mounted properly. All of the gaps are the way I want it. We have obviously the front fascias in. I haven't, of course, put in any of the front grille work. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. One of the things I did do, though, is I installed finally and completed the hood locks. The way the lock works is it is a rotating cylinder. So I rotate it to the left and pull the key out. Now, of course, I would do the same thing on that side as well. But by rotating it, what happens is that there is a spiral lock, as you can see the way that spiral lock works. And then inside, there is a matching pin set. And that matching pin set then is what engages. And then as you rotate that a 1/4 turn, the pins then engage on both sides. Now, of course, just like the shelves, you have to move the rubber stopper outboard onto the top left. This way here, you still get the stopper. Now, I have not yet installed the rest of the rubber seals on this car, but basically, these two then adjust the height of the hood, and then this perch, which used to be the rubber stoppers, is now replaced by the pins. And it's the same thing when they did the Shelbys and when they did the hood locks on these cars, is that they use that exact same position. As far as the engine, well, we've been introduced to that before. It's all just waiting to go. Now, as far as the rest of the car, well, we haven't done much more since the last video. Basically, we have started working on the dash and getting all the wiring in place. Well, the dash has not yet been painted, but once I paint the dash, and of course I have to paint the ashtray and the glove box and things like that. So I've still got to do all of that painting, but once that's done, I can start putting the dash and the interior together. But again, I'm going to want to do those fenders first before I do anything. Now, as far as parts, it is absolutely a diminishing list of parts. So of course we still, from the top down, we just have our trims and seals. Of course, there's the grille with the fog lights installed, the stereo components that are going to be in there, the headlights, and of course air conditioning. My bag of goodies, I remember 18 months ago, I must have gone through 10 or 15 boxes of these bags, but now I'm down to probably about 20 bags, and half of those are probably not going to get reused. And of course, like I said, most parts are just kind of scattered around. I got my box O bolts, and of course we have our dash. Now these are two things, I've never talked about these before, and I don't know if I'm going to put these in, but obviously, as you know, these are the front overrides, these are the front bumperettes. That's a tough question. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. And of course, we have the sills, wipers, the paint. We have the seats just waiting to go in. And again, that's what I mean by the two-tone, right? The light and dark blues. Seat belts, these are the shoulder straps. So this is a 3-point harness system. So again, that's got to be installed, and I'll document that. Headlights, all the buckets still have to go in. And of course, some of the badging. And then of course, a lot more stainless steel. And as I said, I've already polished a lot of this up, but I'll probably hit it one more time with the buffing wheel before it goes onto the car. But like I said, a lot of stainless steel on a convertible. So I got that to do as well. And of course, the trunk is sitting on the floor, and of course, that's the back of the back seat over there. The reason the trunk is not installed is because when I'm putting the roof on this car, a lot of the bolts need to be accessed from the trunk. And the thought of having the trunk in the way, you know, made it ridiculous for me to try to get my hand up in here and to put the bolts in along this area here. So basically, I'm going to leave the trunk off the car. That's probably not going to go on until, well, pretty well done when the roof is on. Well, thanks for stopping by, but I got to get back to work. But before you go, I just wanted to thank all of my subscribers. It has been a long journey. It's about 2 years coming up now. And we're about a month away from this car being 100% complete. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Let's just hope it's not a train. But until then, I want to thank everybody. As I said, have a safe and wonderful New Year's. Do not drink and drive. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And I will see you in 2022. Let's hope it's a better year than 2021. I'll see you then.